Hey everyone, this is Melvin and Darin with MyPlatinumClub.com.
How's it going?
And we have got another installment for you out of the 7 mistakes to avoid when purchasing an apartment or commercial property.
All right.
And today we were talking off camera just before this, and we were talking about examining the income and expenses closely.
Closely, that's right.
With the magnifying glass
That's right.
out. What do you have to say, as far as that goes?
It's really easy, and once again, a lot of what we talk about sometimes can be common sense. In no way do we want to insult anybody. Okay, so I'm not saying that, hey, you guys don't have any common sense. I'm not saying that, but look, I know how it goes. You get wrapped up. There's so many things going on when you're putting a transaction together that it's easy to forget or put something aside with the intent of going back to it and then not getting back to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So this one I want to talk about now is income and expenses. Now, almost every property you will look at, okay, or request information on, always has what's called pro forma information.
Okay.
Rarely do you get actual information unless you make 4 requests and, give a blood test. I'm kidding, but it's real hard to get real information. And so, number one, make sure that you get actual income and expense information, not pro forma. Okay. Now, pro forma is not bad, and we've talked in other installments on this on why you don't want to necessarily believe the pro forma so much, and you want to do your own work and research and due diligence on that. But you want to make sure you get the actual numbers. Okay, so that's like number one. All right, number two, whatever you do, don't take the real numbers once you've got them at face value. Do your own investigating in terms of how accurate those numbers are. I'm surprised to find the number of clients that will get the actual numbers, okay, from a broker or from the owner, and they'll say, well, here's the actual numbers, and then I'll say, well, what have you done to check that those are the actual numbers? Nothing. So you're just going to believe the guy? Yeah. Well, look, I'm not saying that the seller's a liar or the broker's a liar, but you want to double check those, okay? Mm-hmm. So the first thing you want to do is you want to check the rental income. All right? So here's the gross income. Well, how do you do that? You get a current rent roll from the property that lists all of the tenants and the rent that they're paying. All right? So if the seller's telling you that the annual rent's $100,000, you better add up all of those rents coming in to make sure they're at least...
And compare that.
Exactly, $100,000. Don't just take the seller's word for it. Okay? And then also vacancy. All right? Well, our vacancy is 4%. Well, off the rent roll, you'll find out how many units that are vacant. Mm-hmm. Well, after you do that and it comes at the vacant's 12%, you got some issues to talk about. Right? Okay? Same with the rental income. If the rental income isn't $100,000 like our example, now you need to have a discussion. All right? So you want to check out those income figures closely by examining the rent rolls from the properties. Now, in the event there's no rent rolls available or you can't get one, the next best thing is to look at the leases. Okay? The next best thing is to look at the leases, right? All right, so that's the income side of it. On the expense side of it, every line-by-line item you check every single one. Okay? You double-check every single one. So if they've got insurance down, my insurance guy or my insurance lady, hey, how much is insurance going to be for me on this property? Okay? Property taxes, county tax assessor, city tax assessor, where the properties go. Check on that. Utilities, gas company, electric company, you check all of those. Okay? You want to make sure, especially those fixed expense items, are exactly what's going on. Okay? Because you don't want to find out. Well, I'll tell you. I mean, the real reason here in a minute. But I'll give you a story. So we're looking at a 15-unit building here not that long ago. Okay, 15 units, great property, great location, we liked it, really going to fit well with what we had going on. On the seller's tax, income tax form, income tax form, the seller listed his property tax expense at $7,900. Okay, all right. Well, the guy's reporting that to the IRS, that should probably be what the taxes are. But we double-checked.
Okay.
His taxes were twice that much.
Wow.
Okay, twice that much. Now, if we would have went forward to purchase that, we would have had a negative. We would have had $7,000 less in cash flow annually.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, So we double checked it. So what you need to do is, with the income items, you double check it. Right? Expense item, you check every single one. Okay. Then when you're done with all that, now you say, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I want to see last year's Schedule E, 8821, whatever the partnership return, whatever the tax return is for that property, you want to see it. And now you want to start comparing and putting all this together. Okay. 50% of the time, you're going to find the figures are all screwed up.
Okay.
They're not close. You know, well, my story, you'll find my story is what will happen at least half of the time. There'll be something in there that they'll be screwed up. And by the way, many times the seller doesn't even know that he or she's got the number screwed up.
It really is an honest mistake.
I mean, yeah, they're not like trying to pull the wool over. It's like, oh, really, you know. But of course, that gives you some bargaining power to go back to the table. But that's what you want to do, is go that route. Okay. Double check, get the tax returns and double check. Okay. Now you know you're dealing with a real set of numbers. Now you know going forward how the property really cash flows, so there will be less surprise for you when you take over. You've got your plan can get implemented a lot quicker, and you'll be a lot profitable at the same time. Many people don't do that. And by the way, the time you don't want to find this out is 2 hours before the closing. Oh, you mean, wait a minute, no, you want to find that out. And the time you really don't want to find it out is 2 hours after the closing.
Right, when the bills are coming in.
Yeah, so what I just talked about is pretty easy to do.
Yep.
Just take the time to do it. And I'll tell you, every single deal you do, when you do that, I mean, you're going to do very, very well as a result. No surprises. Not only will you be able to get into the properties that you want, but then you'll be able to avoid the ones that maybe, didn't look as good as you thought after going through that process.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, there you have it. Don't skip this step and don't get surprised.
Yeah, don't do it.
All right. Again, this is Melvin and Darin with MyPlatinumClub.com, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Take care. We'll see you.